The meeting room fell silent as Captain Olivia Martinez stepped forward. The blue-skinned aliens sat across the table, their 6 fingers tapping with impatience. This was humanity's big moment. First contact with the Zarn Empire, the most powerful alien civilization in this part of the galaxy. On behalf of Earth, we thank you for this opportunity, Olivia said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. She had trained 15 years for this moment. First contact. The day humans joined the galactic community. The lead alien, Ambassador Krex, nodded slightly. We are curious to see what your species has to offer. Please show us your best technology. Olivia glanced at Lieutenant William Carter, who stepped forward with a tablet. The wall behind them lit up with images of Earth's proudest achievement, the USS Horizon. This is our most advanced starship, William explained. It can reach Alpha Centauri in just under 9 years. We've developed fusion engines that... A strange sound interrupted him. It took Olivia a moment to recognize it as laughter. The Zarn were laughing, their shoulders shaking as they made chirping noises. 9 years to reach your nearest star? Ambassador Krex said between laughs. We can cross the galaxy in months. Your technology is like showing us stone tools. Olivia felt her face grow hot. We understand we have much to learn, but your species is still crawling, another Zarn cut in. We expected more from a world with your resources. William tried to continue the presentation, showing Earth's advances in medicine, agriculture, and computer science. But with each slide, the aliens' amusement grew. Perhaps in another century, you might qualify for observer status in the Galactic Union, Ambassador Krex said. For now, we suggest you focus on developing basic space travel technology. The meeting ended quickly after that. Olivia and her team were escorted back to their shuttle. No one spoke during the flight back to Earth. The mission that was supposed to mark humanity's greatest achievement had turned into humiliation. Back at Space Command headquarters, Admiral Gregory Hoffman watched the recorded meeting, his face giving away nothing. When the video ended, he looked at the small group gathered in the secure room. They bought it completely, he said finally. Defense Secretary Patricia Douglas nodded. Our acting was convincing. They believe we're technologically primitive. But why did we need to look weak? Asked a young officer in the back. We could have shown them what we really have. Admiral Hoffman stood up and walked to the window. Outside, the Washington Monument gleamed in the distance. History has taught us something important, he said. When advanced civilizations meet, less advanced ones, it rarely ends well for the less advanced. The Romans, the British Empire, the Spanish conquistadors, they all conquered those they saw as primitive. He turned back to face the room. But what if the supposedly primitive society isn't primitive at all? What if they're just very good at keeping secrets? The Admiral pressed a button, and the room's display changed to show a different ship. Unlike the bulky USS Horizon they had shown the Zarn, this vessel was sleek, black, and clearly built for both speed and power. The USS Shadow, Admiral Hoffman said. For 15 years, we've let the world believe our space program was struggling with basic problems. Meanwhile, we poured resources into Project Phantom. The display showed the massive ship in orbit around Neptune, completely invisible to standard sensors. Stealth technology unlike anything else in existence. The ability to bend light around, the hull. Systems that absorb energy instead of reflecting it. For all practical purposes, invisible until we choose not to be, Patricia Douglas added. After we recovered that crashed alien ship in 2042, we learned enough about advanced technology to make a leap forward. But we also learned there are dangerous things out there. We decided to hide our true capabilities. Olivia spoke up from her seat. So the meeting today was exactly what we wanted, the Admiral finished. The Zarn now think we're harmless. No threat, not worth careful observation. What happens next? William asked. The Admiral's face grew serious. If history is any guide, they'll be back. Civilizations that find others they consider primitive rarely just leave them alone. They colonize. They take resources. They conquer. And when they come, Patricia said, they won't be expecting resistance. They certainly won't be looking for a ship they can't see. A communications officer entered the room and handed a note to Admiral Hoffman. He read it, and his expression darkened. It seems the Zarn are moving faster than we expected. Long-range sensors have detected a fleet of ships entering our solar system. 7 vessels, likely military based on their configuration. They're coming. Here? Already? Olivia asked. It's only been hours since the meeting. The Admiral nodded. They're not wasting any time. Their official communication says they're sending an observation team to monitor Earth's development. With warships? William asked. Exactly, said the Admiral. This fits the pattern we've seen in their history. They find worlds they consider primitive but resource-rich, then move quickly to establish control. He pulled up another display showing the approaching fleet. They'll be in Earth orbit in 3 days. Do we reveal the shadow now? Patricia asked. Admiral Hoffman shook his head. Not yet. Let's see what they do first. Captain Martinez, I want you back on the diplomatic team. Keep them talking. Lieutenant Carter, you'll join the technical group. Let them see our primitive technology up close. And the shadow? Olivia asked. Captain Ryan West and his crew. Remain on high alert but invisible, the Admiral said. For now we continue the act. We look weak, confused, maybe even a little scared. He looked around the room at each face. The Zarn came to laugh at us. Let them laugh a little longer. Soon enough they'll learn that humanity isn't what it seems. As the meeting ended, Olivia gazed up at the night sky through the window. Somewhere, up there, the Zarn fleet was approaching, confident in their superiority. They had no idea what was waiting for them. The galaxy thought humans were just taking their first steps into space. They had no idea that humans had learned long ago that, in a dangerous universe, sometimes the best advantage was to be underestimated. 3 days passed quickly. The Zarn fleet arrived in Earth orbit right on schedule. 7 warships, each one bigger than anything humans had publicly admitted to building, positioned themselves around the planet. Ambassador Krex requested an immediate meeting with Earth's leaders. The United Nations Security Council gathered in New York, with screens showing the alien ships looming overhead in cities worldwide. The message was clear. The Zarn wanted everyone on Earth to see their power. Olivia Martinez stood with Admiral Hoffman and Secretary Douglas in the waiting room outside the main chamber. Through the door, they could see Ambassador Krex already seated, looking smug. Remember, we stick to the plan, Admiral Hoffman whispered. Act impressed by their ships. Act a little scared, ask simple questions. Secretary Douglas nodded. President Rodriguez has been briefed. She'll play her part. They entered the chamber and took their seats. President Samantha Rodriguez, a former naval officer with a calm, steady presence, led the Earth delegation. Ambassador Krex, she began. We weren't expecting your return so soon. May I ask why your military vessels are positioned around our planet? The blue-skinned alien smiled, showing pointed teeth. These are merely observation vessels, President Rodriguez. Standard procedure when we encounter developing worlds. We're here to protect and guide your species. Protect us from what? President, Rodriguez asked. The galaxy is dangerous for primitive species, Krex replied. Many predatory civilizations would take advantage of your limited defenses. The Zarn Empire offers protection in exchange for reasonable access to your planet's resources. Admiral Hoffman noticed how Krex emphasized the word reasonable. He'd seen this pattern in the historical records they'd studied. The Zarn had done this before to at least 6 other worlds. What kind of resources are you interested in? Secretary Douglas asked. Your planet is rich in rare minerals, water, and biological diversity, Krex said. We would establish processing centers, small at first, just a few hundred square kilometers each. President Rodriguez frowned. That sounds like mining operations. Call it what you wish. Krex waved his 6-fingered hand dismissively. You would benefit from our presence. We would share some technology, not our advanced systems, of course, but improvements to your current capabilities. Admiral Hoffman spoke up. And if we decline your generous offer? Ambassador Krex's smile faded. That would be unwise. The protection we offer is mandatory. Other species in the galaxy would not be as gentle as the Zarn. The threat hung in the air. Olivia watched as UN representatives whispered among themselves. The fear in the room was real, even among those who knew about the shadow. President Rodriguez stood up. "We need time to discuss your proposal, Ambassador. Surely you understand this is a significant decision for our people." "Of course," Krex said. "You have 48 Earth hours to accept our protection agreement. Our ships will remain in orbit until then." After the meeting, Earth's leaders gathered in the secure underground facility beneath the UN building. The room was swept for listening devices every few minutes. "They're not even trying to hide their intentions," Olivia said. "They want to strip mine Earth." General Frank Bennett, head of the Joint Chiefs, pulled up images of the Zarn ships. "We've been analyzing their capabilities. 7 warships heavily armed. Their weapons could cause significant damage before we could reveal our true technology." Intelligence Officer Heather Mitchell displayed her findings next. "We intercepted communications between their ships. They're already selecting sites for their processing centers: the Amazon Basin, Central Africa, Northern Canada, and Western Australia." "They're not waiting for our answer," William Carter said. "They expect us to cave in to their demands." President Rodriguez looked at Admiral Hoffman. "What do we know about their weapons?" "Energy-based, similar to what we've developed but more refined," he replied. "Their shields appear substantial but not impenetrable. The Shadow was designed with these capabilities in mind." "Where is the Shadow now?" the President asked. Admiral Hoffman tapped a command into his tablet. A holographic display appeared showing the solar system. "Here, in high orbit around Mars, opposite side from Earth. Completely cloaked. The Zarn have scanned that area 3 times and detected nothing." "What about the sister ships?" General Bennett asked. "The Spectre and the Wraith are still under construction in the lunar facility," Secretary Douglas answered. 6 months from completion, at minimum." President Rodriguez stood quietly for a moment, weighing the options. Everyone in the room knew what was at stake: humanity's freedom, their future. "We need more information before we decide," she finally said. "I want to know exactly what these Zarn are capable of. Captain Martinez, arrange another meeting with Ambassador Krex. Act interested in their offer. Get them talking about their technology, their empire, anything that might help us." "Yes, Madam President," Olivia replied. "Lieutenant Carter, you'll accompany her. Ask technical questions. Act impressed, make them want to boast." William nodded. The President turned to Admiral Hoffman. "Have Captain West move the Shadow closer, but maintain cloak. I want it ready if we need it." "Already done," Hoffman said. "The Shadow is on a trajectory that will bring it to Earth orbit in 36 hours, still undetectable." "What's our plan, Madam President?" Secretary Douglas asked. "We play for time," President Rodriguez replied. "We let them think we're scared, divided, unsure. Meanwhile, we prepare. If diplomacy fails, if they make any aggressive move, we show them who they're really dealing with." Later that day, Olivia and William met with Ambassador Krex aboard his command ship. The vessel was impressive: sleek corridors with gravity control, view screens that seemed to float in midair, and Zarn crew members who barely glanced at the humans. "Your ship is amazing," William said, making sure to sound awestruck. "How fast can it travel?" Krex puffed up with pride. "We can reach neighboring star systems in days, not the years your primitive ships require. Our drive technology creates controlled tiers in space-time." "And your weapons?" Olivia asked innocently. "Surely you don't need them just for observation." "Standard defensive systems," Krex said casually. "Energy projectors capable of reducing small moons to rubble, particle barriers that can withstand direct asteroid impacts." He led them to the bridge, clearly enjoying their wide-eyed expressions. "This is where we command not just this ship, but our entire fleet. From here we could target any city on your world with perfect precision." "It's very impressive," Olivia said. "I can see why many worlds accept your protection." Krex's expression darkened slightly. "All worlds accept our protection, Captain Martinez." Those who initially resist quickly reconsider when they see the alternatives. As they left the Zarn ship, William whispered, "They're not just planning to take resources, they want to turn Earth into a colony." Olivia nodded grimly, "And they believe we can't stop them." Back on Earth, they reported everything they had learned. The clock was ticking. Less than 24 hours remained before the Zarn expected an answer. In orbit above Mars, the USS Shadow silently changed course, moving toward Earth, invisible against the blackness of space. Captain Ryan West stood on the bridge of the USS Shadow, watching his crew work in focused silence. Unlike the bulky ships Earth publicly acknowledged, the Shadow's bridge was sleek and advanced. Holographic displays floated in the air, showing the ship's position relative to Earth and the Zarn fleet. "Status report," Ryan said quietly. Commander Eliza Dawson looked up from her tactical station. "All systems nominal, Captain. Stealth field is at maximum efficiency. We're completely invisible. To their sensors. Weapons? Fully charged. Disruptors ready. Antimatter torpedoes armed." Ryan nodded. The Shadow was the most powerful warship humans had ever built, though few people on Earth even knew it existed. For 15 years, the best engineers and scientists had worked in secret facilities on the far side of the moon, developing technology that put humanity decades ahead of what they showed to the world. "How long until we reach Earth orbit?" he asked. 6 hours, Captain," replied Lieutenant Joseph Rodriguez from navigation. "We're maintaining low-energy approach to minimize any chance of detection." Ryan walked to the main view screen, which showed Earth growing larger as they approached. The 7 Zarn ships were positioned around the planet, their sleek purple hulls gleaming in the sunlight. "They have no idea we're coming," he said softly. Communications Officer Lisa Chen spoke up. "Captain, we're receiving an encrypted transmission from Admiral Hoffman. Put it through to my station." Ryan moved to his chair and accepted the secure message. Admiral Hoffman's face appeared on the small screen. "Captain West, situation update," the Admiral said without preamble. "The Zarn have moved up their deadline. They're demanding Earth's surrender in 6 hours, not the original 48. Ryan frowned. What changed? They detected increased military communications. Nothing about the Shadow, but enough to make them suspicious that we might be considering resistance. "Has the President made her decision?" Admiral Hoffman nodded. "Operation Revelation is approved. The Shadow is cleared to reveal itself if the Zarn make any aggressive move, but only if they move first. We want the galaxy to know who started this." "Understood, sir. We'll be in position in 6 hours just as their deadline expires." "Perfect timing." The Admiral paused. "Ryan, everything we've planned for is about to happen. The future of Earth depends on what happens in the next few hours. We won't let you down, sir." The transmission ended and Ryan turned to his crew. "All hands to battle stations. Prepare for potential combat operations in 6 hours. Throughout the ship, 300 crew members, the best of the best chosen from every nation on Earth, prepared for what might be humanity's first interstellar battle." Back on Earth, the tension was mounting. President Rodriguez stood in the Situation Room, surrounded by her advisors. The countdown clock on the wall showed 5 hours remaining until the Zarn's new deadline. "Are we certain they can't detect the Shadow?" she asked. Secretary Douglas nodded. "The Phantom stealth system absorbs all types of scanning technology. It doesn't just hide from radar or visual detection, it actively bends energy around the ship." "And if they do somehow detect it?" Admiral Hoffman spoke up. "Then we lose the element of surprise, but not our technological advantage. The Shadow is more than capable of defending itself in Earth." General Bennett wasn't as confident. "Madam President, we should consider evacuation of key government personnel to the lunar facility. If this goes badly..." "No. President Rodriguez, cut him off. I'm not leaving. No one in this room is leaving. We stand with our people." On the main screen, Ambassador Krex had requested another meeting. The alien's face looked smug, confident of Earth's surrender. "Put him through," the President ordered. Krex appeared on screen. "President Rodriguez, I trust you've had time to consider our generous offer of protection." We're still discussing it, Ambassador, she replied calmly. Your sudden change of deadline is concerning. Krex's expression hardened. We've detected increased military chatter. Are you perhaps considering something foolish? We're a cautious species, Ambassador. When faced with armed ships around our planet, we naturally discuss our options. There are no options, Krex said flatly. Either accept Zarn protection, or we will be forced to demonstrate why resistance is unwise. Perhaps a small demonstration would help clarify your thinking. The screen split to show one of the Zarn ships moving into position over the Pacific Ocean. A beam of energy shot downward, striking the water hundreds of miles from any land. A massive column of steam rose into the atmosphere. That was at 10% power, Krex said. Aimed at an uninhabited area, as a courtesy. Imagine that beam striking one of your cities. President Rodriguez maintained her composure. We understand. Your message, Ambassador. We'll have our answer at the appointed time. When the transmission ended, the room erupted in angry voices. That was a direct threat, General Bennett shouted. They're getting impatient, Heather Mitchell observed. This isn't going according to their usual playbook. Normally they don't demonstrate weapons until after the deadline. Admiral Hoffman checked his secure tablet. The Shadow has increased speed. New arrival time is 3 hours, not 6. Will that be soon enough? Secretary Douglas asked. It has to be, the President replied. In orbit, the Zarn ships began to change position, moving to cover major population centers around the globe. On view screens worldwide, people watched with growing fear as alien warships took up positions over cities. Ambassador Krex sent a message to every television, radio, and internet connection on the planet. People of Earth, your leaders are endangering you by delaying. The Zarn Empire offers protection and guidance to developing worlds like yours. Those who accept thrive. Those who resist. He let the words hang in the air. Meanwhile, aboard the Shadow, Captain West watched the new Zarn formation with growing concern. They're positioning for orbital strikes, Commander Dawson observed. Classic intimidation tactic. Can we intercept if they fire on a population center? Ryan asked. Yes, but we'd have to decloak to do it, she replied. Ryan made a quick decision. Increase speed to maximum. Maintain stealth field integrity. We need to reach Earth before they run out of patience. The Shadow's engines pushed to their limits, accelerating the ship faster than any human vessel had ever traveled openly. Still completely invisible to all sensors, it raced toward Earth. A guardian no one could see coming to a battle no one expected it to win. In the Pentagon's deepest level, Admiral Hoffman received the update from the Shadow. New arrival time, 90 minutes, he told the President. She looked at the countdown clock. 2 hours until the deadline. They're cutting it close, she said quietly. Too close, Secretary Douglas whispered. What if the Zarn attack before the Shadow arrives? No one had an answer to that. All they could do was watch and wait as humanity's fate hung in the balance. Ambassador Krex grew impatient in his command ship. The humans were stalling, and he didn't understand why. Every other primitive species the Zarn had encountered quickly surrendered when faced with superior technology. These humans were either very brave or very foolish. Any unusual activity from Earth? He asked his sensor officer. Nothing significant, Ambassador. Their military forces are on high alert, but they remain in defensive positions. No spacecraft have launched. No weapons have been aimed at our fleet. Krex tapped his long fingers on the arm of his command chair. They must know they can't win. Why delay the inevitable? His second-in-command, Sub-Commander Vex, approached with a report. Our analysis team has completed their study of Earth's resources. The planet exceeds our expectations. Water, minerals, biological diversity, all in greater abundance than initially estimated. Krex smiled. A valuable addition to the Empire. There is something else, Vex added. We've detected unusual energy signatures from their lunar base. Nothing that suggests a threat, but more advanced than their public technology would indicate. Interesting, Krex mused. Perhaps they've been holding back some developments. No matter. Even their most advanced weapons would be useless against our shields. Krex made a decision. I'm tired of waiting. Prepare a stronger demonstration. Target one of their uninhabited islands. Use 30% power this time. Yes, Ambassador. 60 minutes until the deadline. The USS Shadow was racing toward Earth, still completely invisible. On the bridge, Captain Ryan West received an urgent message from Earth. The Zarn are preparing another weapons demonstration, Admiral Hoffman reported. More powerful than the last. Where are they targeting? Ryan asked. An island in the Pacific. Uninhabited, but the energy discharge at 30% power will be visible worldwide. They're escalating their intimidation tactics. Ryan looked at the tactical display. We're still 40 minutes out. Can Earth stall them? The President is trying, but Krex is losing patience. The Admiral's voice was grim. If they start targeting populated areas. Understood, sir. We'll push the engines past safety limits. New ETA, 30 minutes. Ryan turned to his crew. Engineering, I need everything you've got. Tactical, prepare all weapons. We may need to decloak and engage before reaching optimal position. Throughout the Shadow, the crew worked with urgent precision. In engineering, Chief Karen Wallace pushed the antimatter reactors to their maximum output. The ship's speed increased dramatically, though still without any visible signs of its passage through space. In the Pentagon, President Rodriguez took a deep breath before opening the channel to the Zarn command ship. Ambassador Krex appeared, on screen looking irritated. Ambassador, she began. No more delays, Krex interrupted. Your time is running out, and my patience with it. Observe what happens to those who test the Zarn Empire. The screen split to show one of the Zarn warships positioning over a small island in the Pacific. Its main weapon began to glow with purple energy. That island is part of a protected marine reserve, President Rodriguez protested. The ecosystem there will be destroyed as an example, Krex finished coldly, unless you immediately agree to our terms. The President glanced at Admiral Hoffman, who held up his tablet showing a message. Shadow ETA 25 minutes. Still too long. Ambassador, please, the President said. We need more time to prepare our people for such a significant change. A planetary transition to Zarn oversight requires careful planning. Krex's eyes narrowed. You continue to stall. Perhaps you're hoping for some miracle to save you? I assure you no help is coming. The Zarn rule this sector of space completely. On the view screen, the Zarn weapon powered up further, now pulsing with bright energy. 10 seconds to firing, came a voice from off-screen. Secretary Douglas whispered, Madam President, if they destroy that island, panic will spread worldwide. We'll have riots, chaos. President Rodriguez stood up straight. Ambassador Krex, the United States and Earth officially protest this action. Krex laughed. Your protests are noted and dismissed. Fire the weapon. The energy beam lanced down from the Zarn ship toward the island. But before it could strike, something extraordinary happened. The beam hit what appeared to be empty space and scattered in all directions, like light hitting a mirror. For a brief moment, a shimmer appeared in the sky above the island. On the Zarn command ship, alarms blared. Energy disruption, the tactical officer shouted. Weapon discharge deflected by something. Impossible, Krex snarled. Scan the area. Nothing detected, Ambassador. Whatever blocked our weapon isn't registering on any sensors. In the shadows, bridge, Captain West gripped his chair as the ship shuddered. Damage report. Shield deflectors holding at 82%, Commander Dawson reported. We successfully intercepted their weapon, but it was more powerful than expected. Did we maintain stealth? Partially. The energy dispersion would have been visible briefly from Earth and the Zarn fleet. They know something's there, but they still can't see us or get a lock on our position. Ryan made a quick decision. We've lost the element of complete surprise. Time to change tactics. He opened a channel to Earth. Admiral Hoffman, the Shadow has intercepted the Zarn weapon. We're 20 minutes ahead of schedule, but had to partially reveal our presence. Requesting permission to proceed with Operation Revelation. In the Pentagon, relief spread across the room. President Rodriguez nodded to Admiral Hoffman, who responded, Permission granted, Captain. Show them what humanity is truly capable of. Ryan turned to his communications officer. Prepare a channel to the entire Zarn fleet, then to tactical. Bring all weapons online, but hold fire unless fired upon. Navigation, position us directly between the Zarn command ship and Earth. The shadow moved with incredible speed, still, mostly invisible except for occasional shimmers when it changed direction sharply. Ambassador Krex was in a state of confusion. What technology could block our weapons? Earth doesn't have energy shields. He turned to his tactical officer. Scan everything. Find whatever interfered with our demonstration. Ambassador, the sensor officer called out. There's a distortion moving through space near our fleet. It's not registering on standard sensors, but it's displacing cosmic radiation patterns. What is it? An asteroid? Some natural phenomenon? No, Ambassador. The movement is too precise, too deliberate. I believe it's a ship, but unlike any ship we've encountered. Krex's eyes widened. The humans couldn't possibly. Before he could finish, the space directly in front of his command ship began to shimmer and distort, like a mirage resolving into reality. A massive black vessel appeared out of nowhere. Twice the size of the largest Zarn warship, its sleek hull seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Weapons ports lined its surface, all open and glowing, with energy. On every communication channel in perfect Zarn language came a message. This is Captain Ryan West of the Earth Defense Force vessel USS Shadow. Your demonstration of force against our planet ends now. Complete silence fell across the Zarn command ship. Ambassador Krex stared at the massive black vessel that had appeared from nowhere. His tactical officers frantically checked their readings, trying to understand how such a large ship had remained undetected. Impossible, Krex whispered. Their technology was primitive. We saw their ships, their weapons. You saw what we wanted you to see. Captain Ryan West's voice came through clearly on all channels. Earth has maintained a public face of limited technology, while developing our true capabilities in secret. On the Shadow's bridge, Ryan stood tall as he addressed not just the Zarn, but all of Earth as well. His transmission was being broadcast to every screen on the planet. For 15 years, humanity has prepared for this moment, Ryan continued. The Shadow represents our true technological level, not the outdated ships we showed you. Ambassador Krex recovered from his shock quickly. One ship, no matter how advanced, cannot stand against our fleet. You've revealed your secret too soon, Captain. Have I? Ryan smiled slightly. Commander Dawson, tactical display to all Zarn ships. Eliza Dawson pressed a series of commands. Suddenly, the Zarn fleet's sensor screens lit up with detailed schematics of their own vessels, showing every weakness, every vulnerable point in their design. We've been studying your technology for decades, Ryan explained. That crashed scout ship your empire lost in 2042? We recovered it, learned from it, improved upon it. On Earth, people watched in amazement as the truth was revealed. In cities around the world, crowds gathered around giant screens, cheering as they saw the Shadow facing down the alien fleet. In the Pentagon, President Rodriguez turned to Admiral Hoffman. It's time for me to address the Zarn directly. To you. Admiral nodded and established a connection to the Shadow. Captain West, the President wishes to join the communication. Of course, Admiral, adding her to the channel now. President Rodriguez's image appeared alongside Ryan's on the Zarn view screens. Ambassador Krex, this is President Samantha Rodriguez of Earth. Your threats against our planet end now. Krex snarled. You deceived us, pretended to be weak. Protected ourselves, she corrected. Throughout human history, when technologically advanced civilizations encountered less developed ones, the results were rarely good for the less developed. We learned from our own past. The President's voice grew stronger. Earth does not seek conflict with the Zarn Empire or any other civilization. But we will not be colonized. We will not be exploited. We stand as equals in the galactic community, not as subjects. On the Zarn command ship, Subcommander Vex approached Krex. Ambassador, we're detecting unusual energy readings from Earth's moon, similar technology to their hidden ship. Krex's eyes widened as he realized the implications. How many more ships do you have? He demanded. Captain West answered calmly. Enough. In truth, the Spectre and the Wraith were still months from completion, but the Zarn didn't need to know that. I suggest you withdraw your fleet immediately, President Rodriguez continued. Return to your empire with this message. Earth is open to peaceful relations and fair trade, but we will never accept domination. Krex was trapped. His fleet could still cause significant damage to Earth, but the Shadow clearly had technology that matched or exceeded Zarn capabilities. Any battle would be costly, perhaps disastrous, and if the humans had more ships like this one. This isn't over, Krex said finally. The Zarn Empire does not forget deception. Neither does Earth forget threats against our people, Ryan replied. Your weapons are still aimed at our cities. I suggest you correct that immediately. With obvious reluctance, Krex gave the order. The Zarn ships powered down their weapons and began to move away from Earth. We will report this to the Galactic Council, Krex said. Your deception violates first contact protocols. President Rodriguez smiled slightly. We look forward to addressing the Council as equals, not as a primitive species to be exploited. We will be happy to explain why we felt it necessary to hide our true capabilities. As the Zarn fleet prepared to depart, Admiral Hoffman contacted the Shadow. Excellent work, Captain West. Maintain position and keep an eye on them until they're beyond the orbit of Mars. With pleasure, Admiral. The Shadow remained visible, its black hull gleaming in the sunlight as it tracked the retreating alien ships. Within hours, the immediate crisis was over. The Zarn fleet left the solar system, no doubt hurrying back, to report this unexpected development. On Earth, celebrations broke out worldwide. The Shadow remained in orbit, finally visible to the people it had been built to protect. News organizations scrambled to report on the secret space program that had been running alongside the public one for years. 3 days later, the Galactic Council sent a different ship to Earth. This vessel came with representatives from 12 species, not just the Zarn. They requested a peaceful meeting. In the United Nations General Assembly, Captain Martinez and Lieutenant Carter once again stood ready to represent Earth, but this time with no pretense of technological inferiority. Behind them, displayed prominently, were images of the Shadow. The lead representative, an elder member of a species called the Krith, addressed the assembly. On behalf of the Galactic Council, I extend greetings to Earth as a full member of the interstellar community. The alien looked around the room before continuing. In 10,000 years of first contacts, yours may be the most impressive I've witnessed, not because of your ship, remarkable as it is, but because your species understood something most never grasp. True strength lies not in demonstrations of power, but in knowing when to reveal it. President Rodriguez stepped forward. Earth thanks the Council for this recognition. We look forward to peaceful exchange of knowledge, culture, and trade, with all species who approach us with respect. In orbit above Earth, Captain West watched from the Shadow's bridge as a new chapter in human history began. The vast ship, no longer hidden, now served as both protector and symbol of humanity's place among the stars. Captain, Commander Dawson, called from her station. The lunar base reports the Spectre is ahead of schedule. Hull construction is complete. Ryan nodded with satisfaction. The Shadow had done its job, but humanity's journey was just beginning. There were stars to explore, civilizations to meet, and a galaxy to navigate. Not as a primitive species to be conquered, but as equals. The strategy that began 15 years ago with a crashed alien ship had worked perfectly. By appearing weak while building strength, Earth had secured its future. The aliens had laughed at humans, underestimated them, and learned too late that appearances can be deceiving. And somewhere in deep space, as the Zarn fleet returned home in disgrace, Ambassador Krex still couldn't understand how he had been so thoroughly fooled by a species he had dismissed as primitive. The laughter, it seemed, had stopped.